Hello guys, welcome to another weekly breakdown video. In today's video I'll be breaking down the second week of November. As you can see, it starts from 11th of November 2024, and before starting the weekly breakdown, let me quickly show you the news. Monday there was no news, Tuesday there is GBP news, Wednesday CPI, Thursday PPI, and Friday there is Fed Chair Powell, GDP, core retail sales. Now I have seen this news so many times that literally it becomes a habit. Now I don't care about what these news are. I mean, I don't get shocked or I don't get any reaction, any connotation for this kind of information in the markets. So this is a weekly breakdown, so let's focus on the weekly breakdown. So clearly we can see the previous weekly candle on GBP USD, it's a doji right here, right? It is not clear, two candles are literally doing the same thing, but obviously the market is literally going down. And in this kind of scenario, in this kind of market conditions, it is best to look for continuation setups, because mostly you will get continuation setup in this kind of market, because the market is literally making lower low. So whenever the market is making a lower high, that is when you get your accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? But whenever the market is going in one direction, that is when you tend to get continuation models more, and this is proof of that. So the weekly bias going on next week was not clear on GBP USD, so that is when I go to the DXY to confirm my bias. DXY bias is clearly bullish to target this draw of liquidity right here, and DXY has been bullish for a long time now. As you can see, literally the price is literally just going up and up and up. Before this, the only good up move on DXY I have seen here, a huge up rally. Whenever DXY gets strong, it gets strong so bad, it's only going up and up and up, right? So whenever in the live market something like this happens, that is when you look for continuation metals, that is when you look for trades with in the favor of DXY. Okay, so the weekly bias is bullish on DXY, and on GBP USD the weekly bias is not clear. So simple as that. Keep your analysis as simple as that. On the weekly I only go to watch those things. And now on the daily, no need to overcomplicate things. This is the supply zone on the daily time frame, which to be honest matters, but not one of the important, because I trade the lower time frames. My entries are on M5 and M1, bro. So on the daily I only mark the supply demand, and yeah, just to get a visual reference on the charts, right? It doesn't confuse me because I understand, I know what I'm doing, that is why. Or else if you are a beginner, obviously it might confuse you, so do your own due diligence. Okay, so clearly we can see on Friday it is a bearish candle, and if I go to DXY to confirm your bias, on DXY it is kind of bullish. But on Monday I didn't took a trade, because I have also written here, we'll wait for Monday to play out, as the weekly is unclear and also it's not looking good. The price is literally choppy right now. Daily time frame is literally chopping around right now. This is where I relentlessly not take a trade, meaning whenever my probabilities in the market is not high to win, then why should I take a trade? As a trader, I should only be in the market, be in a trade whenever the probabilities of me winning is more. But in this case, literally the probabilities aren't in my favor, because the market is choppy and I don't want to be a part of the markets or the price action in this kind of scenarios. So going on Monday, my bias was not clear, so obviously waited for Monday to close. Now just because I waited for Monday to close, my bias is now clear, right? My bias is now bearish on Tuesday, and also on DXY my bias is now bullish. So on Tuesday I can look for buys, which will be sells on GBP USD. So that is when on Tuesday I was looking for sales. Tuesday there was GBP claimant count change news, which is very, very tricky. This week was a very whole week there was news, and whenever there is CPIs and news like this, it's very, very tricky to trade. By my experience, the best weeks are when there are no news, meaning less news, and yeah, those kind of market conditions are the best according to me. So now going on Tuesday I will be looking for sales. So if I'm looking for sales, I will be looking for some sort of supply zones. Sorry, I have done something mistake here. So that is when I go to the H1 to look for some sort of supply zones. And going on Tuesday I was looking for sales, so obviously I will look for some supply zones. The Asian range was so trending, as I've told you, right? The market is just going down and down and down. That is when the market is like on the weekly, on the daily, it's literally one move. but on the M15 it's like lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So we can take advantage of that, and we can literally like use that in our advantage, right? That is exactly what we do in the charts. So going on Tuesday, I didn't took a trade. Why? Because literally it was a continuation setup and I didn't anticipate it. And even if I was looking for a continuation model, I would at least wait for the price to come to this supply zone, which was made inside the Asian range, internal Asian range. So Tuesday was just a no trade day for me because of the price action. As we can see, the price action was doji, and it was also not one of the cleanest. So yeah, that is why I didn't took the trade on Tuesday. Also at this time there was news on GBP USD, so it was also very tricky. The price action on the daily is choppy right now, no clear trend right now. It's ranging 100%. So that is when I go on Wednesday without wasting any time, right? Whenever you don't get a trade, you don't want to force anything, bro. The last thing you want to do in the charts is to force something. No, don't do that. Genuinely been there, done that, right? Don't do that. Tuesday, now my bias is so clear, being bearish. Yes, the price can always come back, rebalance the price, but I don't do that. I trade with the bias, so I'm looking for sells, which is confirmed by DXY being bullish. Yes, there is a favorable leg up to the downside, rebalance of price to the downside, but I'm looking for buys on DXY, which will be sells on GBP USD. And on Wednesday there is CPI, so it will be very tricky. New York session I will not trade, or if I get an entry, like I said, the bias is so clear. If I get an entry before the news and I can write the news, it could be so nice. That's one strategy to pass performs, or you can say a gamble, a little gamble with a no risk, right? If you can do that, good. Otherwise I would not trade New York session. So I would be looking for some sort of trades on London session. On the H4 now we can see the price has now broken structure to the downside right here, but I unmarked it because obviously later in the week the price also broken structure to the downside. That's why. So if I was looking for sells, I would look for sells from some sort of supply zone. There was a beautiful clear supply zone right around here, but according to how the Asian range closes, we need to adapt to the market conditions, right? So on Wednesday, literally my H1 supply zone was very far away, so the price literally going up according to the volume of the markets. I decide the trades. So the volume in the higher time frames are so high right now that for me it didn't make sense to go up 78 pips and then come down again, because of the volume in the higher time frames, right? Because the price is just going down and down and down. It's not even making lower highs, it's just making lower lows. So that was one thing to keep in mind. And what I did do was I went to the M15. There was a M15 supply zone right around here. As you can see, whenever the market is very very high in momentum, that is when I tend to go to the lower time frames and mark the supply zones. And in this case I did the same thing. Like at my time window there was nothing. At my time window today I could have bought, Asian low got swept, and this was a buy setup for me. And next time in the markets I'm gonna take this buy setup. I have seen it so many times in live markets also. Now I'm not giving 100% in my live markets, right? But even though, look, I will show you a quick example. Like today, right, I was looking for sells. My bias was clearly bearish. I was looking for sells from this sort of supply zone. So if I'm looking for sells, and if I'm looking to trade from this supply zone, and if the Asian low is sweep, the price needs to go up first before going down. So knowing that, use that information in your advantage, right? Like today I could have literally taken this buy, beautiful buy to the upside, somehow find some sort of entry with my mechanical model to target this supply zone right here. As long as we are getting a 1:3, we are winning. I have seen this happen so many times. Even last week this happened. So yeah, this thing happens usually in the markets, and that's totally fine, right? So basically that was what I was telling. And yeah, I'm gonna look forward to it. And even if my bias is bearish, I will look for buys if it happens in the time window, and if it gives me what I want to see. That's the MAC model right there. MAC model, we can trade against the bias also if my bias is clear, if it makes sense. I understand it. Maybe in the video I couldn't explain that well, but if you want to a separate video on that, I can make it for you guys if you want. So this was a winning trade, I believe. It was a break-even trade, as you can see. On 1:1.7, that is break even for me. My trade management rules, according to that, it's a break even trade. So on Wednesday, the M15 supply zone did got respected, but it was a break even trade. So yeah, this is how you should adapt, right? The supply zone was so far away, that is why I adapted to the closest zone, and also the previous day volume was very high. Whenever the previous day volume is very high, that is when I tend to adapt to the closest zone in the market, and that works totally fine. I have learned that through my backtesting, and I've also written it on my books, which I'm gonna revise after I finish my backtesting. That is when I will watch all of my backtesting videos, all of my journals. I will revise all of my journals and see what mistakes I've been making and literally fix them. Journal, fix them, journal, fix mistake, and soon you will not make any mistakes, and yeah, that is how you improve. So going on Wednesday, it was a break-even trade. As you can see, in this type of scenario, our accumulation, manipulation, distribution is not showing up. Setup, our usual setup, right? Just the price literally just continuing towards one direction. That is when you need to adapt to the condition of the market, and if the price is only going down, then we need to look for sales and continue with the trend according to our entry model, right? Like in this case, we know that the price is just going down. There are two sessions, huge sessions. Either on the London or New York, it will go down, right? Because the price is just going down. So in any one of those sessions, I need to catch the moves, like in this case right around here. There was news here. I know the higher time frame bias is bearish, so I could have traded this CPI, boom, to the downside, but I don't trade news, so it is what it is. So Wednesday was a tricky day for me. Also there was news, and this week is literally very high impact driven news, so very high impact news driven week, so we have to be very careful. Now the Wednesday candle closed as a bearish candle, so Thursday obviously we'll look for sales again. Yes, the momentum got lower, but that doesn't change the fact that we are bearish. And also there is a daily fair value gap right here which can get filled, but we don't do that. I only trade with the bias being bearish. And on DXY, it also aligned with DXY being bullish, but on DXY what happened was the price went down, rebalanced the price from Monday, and beautiful. And whenever the price rebalanced, and we know this concept by Sal Sanchez, right, the price rebalanced, that is an indication that the price might continue heading towards the upside without having the need to go towards the downside first on DXY, which gives us so much confidence that GBP USD doesn't need to go up and it can continue to the downside. So going on Thursday, there was PPI news, as you can see, core PPI, and if I show you by my FX book calendar, the same sort of thing right here. And yeah, going on Thursday, I will look for sales because the market is just going down, and whenever the market is going down, I don't trade against the bias, so I am only looking for sales. Simple as that. If you keep your trading as simple as I am saying to you right now, you are gonna make success, bro. You are gonna get successful, because trading, people think that it's tough. To be honest, yes, I agree, but once you learn it, it's how you create a plan or how you do the things, right? All of that comes down to that. So yeah, if you can do the hard things, you will do it. So on Thursday, it was a continuation model again, just like I said, adapt to the market conditions, right? So I adapted to the market conditions. I am seeing that the market is just going down and down and down. That is when I'm looking for continuation models right here. This was a MAC model, as you can see on Thursday. It was a MAC model. After my 12:30, which is 7 AM UK time right here, I waited for the change of character or some sort of, yes, this was a change of character right around here. I entered at the equilibrium. As you can see, I entered for a 1:6 risk to reward, which did play out to the T. This is what happens when you adapt to the markets, bro. This was a beautiful trade. Most of the traders, and also there was no clear zone to trade from on Thursday. That is why I have also taken this sell right here. Obviously, you will learn this through time, with time and practice and dedication. But right now I'm backtesting so much, and I have seen so many market conditions that I'm confident in this kind of trades. Confidence is if you have confidence, that is what you need to become profitable. Trust me. And Thursday was also a tricky day to be fair. And yeah, this week was a tricky week. On Friday there was both London and New York session, so I decided not to trade. So going on Friday, I just decided not to trade. There is a reason between that, not because I decided. Yeah, On Friday there was both GBP news, GDP and USD news, and whenever there is both GBP and USD news on the same day, I tend to not trade because I trade 2 time windows, London and New York. If there is news on both of the timing, that is when I don't like trading. So also it was a very bearish day, and if I was looking for something, I will show it to you. If I was looking for something, I would look for sells from this sort of supply zone right here, which did got played out. This happens here. This happens a lot of times. I've seen it so many times happening. There was a clear supply zone here. Asian range went up. The London session gave us the move, but there was news, right? There was news, but whenever there is news, the move does happens. To be honest, I have seen it so many times in the market now that yeah, it seems like the price is knowingly doing things to induce us or to persuade us, right? So that is what that is the weekly breakdown. Hope you guys learned something from this week. It was a very good teaching week. From some previous weeks, the price is just going down and down and down, and yeah, this back testing has literally taught me so many things about EU GU correlation, when I should trade EU, when I should trade GU, and what I should look for. And just don't take a trade on basis of one confluence. Always keep 2 to 3 confluence, at least 3 to 4 confluence before taking a trade, right? So all of that, and how to trade phase 1, phase 2, funded, everything. This back testing has literally changed my trading forever, and after this is finished, I guarantee you I'm gonna become profitable. It's just a matter of time. Catch you on the next video.